Greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads. And, again, welcome back to our Around the Hearth chats. We're going to be discussing Neutral Evil this time. Last time was True Neutral, which we did just a second ago. Well, a few minutes ago. And now we are doing Neutral Evil because it's the next up in the lineup. But first, announcements. Always less than 5 minutes from me. You can time me. Here we go. So, announcements. I announced some last time. Only announcement I'm going to carry over, I guess, is that we're going to, according to the poll that was put out on the community tab of ours, y'all are perfectly on board with the idea of putting our financial supporters in the kind of in a credits reel at the end along with our bloopers. So that's where we will put that, so people watching the bloopers can see the people that support all the weird, crazy, dumb, stupid stuff we say in the bloopers. As well as the serious stuff, you know, as serious as we get around here. But that's the only real announcement as far as changes to the IOPC stuff. So that's all I've got. What about you, Dan, from Avenue Studios?
Hello. Yeah, same as always. We are on YouTube, we're on Spotify, anywhere you can find podcasts, and Rumble. You can support us on Patreon and Locals. We do actual plays, a little bit of chat and RPG stuff, and hanging out with cool guys like these boys. So check us out. We will have some videos out for a Kickstarter, probably in March, for some Open Legend supplemental content, so check that out. And we're doing some upgrades in the garage, so hopefully soon I'll have a new background here. Be pretty cool, and that'll be part of our live stream setup. So we'll move into Twitch, and you can see our Patreon games there. And you know, if you want to join us and play some games, watch movies, hang out with us, that's what we do.
Sounds like a plan. All right. And then Levi has our spotlight,
which would be the, I say the, but that is not in the actual title of the YouTube channel. BadLuckGamer. Proper caps, improper spaces.
There you go.
Talks about Pathfinder 2nd Edition a good bit, and seeing as that is my most consistent game right now, I've been on a kick of watching YouTube videos about it. Definitely goes over a lot of the interesting options and why you might have a good time using them.
Mm-hmm. And
Awesome.
I said this last time, and I'll say it again this time, definitely a solid system. I mean, I may not like all the lore decisions or art decisions they made, but I liked the some of the mechanical changes. Gotta say, though, those hobgoblins, better in 1E. I'm just throwing that out there. Just putting that out there. All right. I don't think Paizo bothers to watch me anyway, so...
Probably not, but it's okay.
You never know.
I mean, I did the Deity series, but I don't think that really drew any of them in, because I think they've been trying to make their own stuff. But they're a little late to the game on that, so...
I didn't know that. Mm-hmm.
Well, they do live plays sometimes and such, but I think, this is just me, and Paizo, if you are watching, might be something you could still try to do, but similar to what D&D did with Critical Role, they really invested hard and heavy in promoting them as the 5e thing, and did not try to do it themselves. I think that, even though they may have done games, I think that if Paizo had done something similar, they may have found more success in their 2nd edition system. I mean, more than they have now. It's not unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know. Anyway, that's just me, Paizo. That's just me. We're not even talking about that time.
We're here. We could play.
Oh, I don't know. I'd play for if you guys got sponsored, maybe. I'm not going to bind myself to a single system.
No, I mean, we'll play other systems.
So, I mean, if you got, sponsored for, a campaign.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I'd do a campaign for sure.
Absolutely.
That'd be fun.
It's like, oh no, to be part of this, I probably really need an actual webcam. And to show my face online.
No! Dun, dun, dun. Don't do it. Only weird people do that.
Yeah. The ladies can't handle it. It's Just
Oh, I would have to keep up on my facial hair for that. Yeah, all the more reason not to.
oh yeah,
'Cause clearly
really
we-
had to keep up on the facial. hair.
Compared to what my facial hair gets to, yes, both of your hair. Because I'm not saying it gets big, I'm saying it gets messy.
Yeah.
You know?
I think by the time, we can have
There
intentions.
you go. Devolving.
My facial hair is not that important to this discussion.
Okay.
Is it neutral evil?
Hey.
No,
Chaotic.
maybe.
All right. Well, we're talking now about neutral evil. So sit down, travelers. Have a nice beverage of your choice, and
Go.
yeah, and sit down by the fire. Warm your toes while we discuss neutral evil. And Levi's starting us off this time. Yeah.
So, neutral evil is evil and evil alone. I would say it is the most archetypal villain that you will come into. If you see the weird scientist who wants to draw the moon into the earth just to make everyone die for no good reason, that is the cosmic extreme of neutral evil. I don't think most neutral evil characters have to be that dumb evil. Like, right, because, you destroy yourself and you don't have a world to even rule over at the end of that. But,
Yep.
like, your stereotypical Saturday morning cartoon villain who's just going around making life horrid for people for the sake of making life horrid for people, that is the extreme of neutral evil. I think for a character, you want to focus more on the idea of neutral evil as purely selfish, and then have goals that make it so that keeping your party with you adheres to what you want more than anything else. So even though you are being selfish, you are not being dumb, and you can work with the group. Because finding ways to work with people is the bane of all evil when it comes to TTRPGs.
Yeah.
At least in my experience of people trying like evil games or like trying to put an evil character in a gray to good party. Like, you have to actively work, because if you start betraying the rest of the party, like, people don't stick around with people who betray them.
Right.
It makes the neutral evil very difficult.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess I'll branch into mine to go along with what you're saying, because I agree on a lot of the points, and I guess it's kind of more nuanced. Like, with our discussion on true neutral, I learned that there were a lot more nuanced ways from our discussion to play that true neutral. So I learned things on that. You should too. Shameless plug. Go watch the True Neutral. Why haven't you yet? Why are you even here on this particular discussion point when this is the sixth thing in the series, seventh thing in the series, and you haven't watched the others? For shame. But
Rude.
back on track. It's not like I've ever cut into midsection. I don't know what you guys are talking about. But your comment about bringing the moon down into the earth, I automatically thought of Majora's Mask. So I guess the mask from Majora is definitely neutral evil. But along with that, I actually think that neutral evil is the most dangerous evil. Because chaotic evil, you know that they are chaotic. And that they're very destructive, but you expect that from them. And lawful evil, you expect them to keep their word. That's part of the deal. It's part of it with their alignment. But with neutral evil, you have a person that you don't know what they're going to do. It's kind of like like the archetypical, like was said with the neutral good hero, an archetypical villain usually is like Levi said, tried to be characterized as neutral evil. I actually think that most of the time they end up going too far chaotic or too far lawful to be considered neutral evil by the alignment standards. But that can be nitpicked because of interpretations of different characters. Some I did have were Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. I remember specifically mentioning him the first time I did these chats. Littlefinger is very much neutral evil, at least from what I saw of Game of Thrones, which was more like clips, not the whole thing. So he was very scheming and very much a mental neutral evil, not necessarily a physical neutral evil. And in the same sense, I think that it could be argued in a similar way to, you could argue that book Sherlock Holmes might have been true neutral in a way. Moriarty could be considered neutral evil because he uses both law and chaos to his personal selfish advantages. And I think that that is something that is more characteristic of neutral evil than necessarily chaotic or lawful. Because a lawful evil wants to keep the order, because it is definitely in its favor. But Moriarty uses neutrality, uses law and chaos to his own goals. 100% selfish on it, which makes him evil in that sense. So maybe Moriarty. And again, you guys can argue with us in the comments if you want about whether these are actually correct. So I'm pretty sure we'll get some kind of comment on the Sherlock thing, but we'll see. We'll see. And then Sephiroth I've actually put down, mainly because he is very much neutral evil. Like, going back to that destroying the planet thing, that's very much a neutral evil thing, I guess, because he was going to bring down he was going to bring down the meteor and destroy the entire Sphera. I think it was. Is it Sphera? Or is that... No, that's Final Fantasy X. Whatever the planet's name was in Final Fantasy VII. He was going to
Austin,
destroy it.
comment below. He's a hardcore Final Fantasy guy.
With that big Buster sword in his new character? No.
No.
Yeah. But Sephiroth, because Sephiroth is very archetypical of those cold, calculating, but also a physical threat villain. Even though he's not necessarily the brains behind what he's doing, he is very much the muscle behind it. And then another one would be, at least from what I've seen, Hannibal Lecter.
I could see that.
And I think that's probably one of the best examples for it, because Lecter actually functions in society. Like, if he's left alone and not caught, he will function in society. And that goes back to working with the group. And he has this whole set of criteria that he likes to go on for who he decides to eat and who he doesn't. You know, he prefers to just kill the rude ones and eat them, type of thing. Almost like he feels like he's culling the herd, or something along that line. And so there's that warped morality to it that is usually archetypical of villains. So you can see that idea of, at least, especially Silence of the Lambs Lecter in that. So,
which I have not seen.
What?
But I have heard much about it.
It's pretty good.
Let's just say that growing up, it was the sort of thing that would have disturbed most of my family. So,
well, I mean, I'm not saying it's not disturbing. I'm just saying it's pretty good disturbance.
Yeah. Oh, I think I would enjoy it, to clarify. Yeah. But I just haven't gotten around to it.
Well, you sit down with your girlfriend and you say, hey, we're going to watch Silence of the Lambs as this bonding experience. Of course, she'll probably... I don't know. I don't know your girlfriend. I can't say if she'd like it or not. But you do.
Depends on the mood she was in,
Yeah.
from my
Get her-
understanding of the movie.
Ooh, do it around
Go
Halloween.
do it. Comment below how it went.
Yeah. There you go. We're just
Yeah, we'll
setting
have to
up-
see if I remember to do this.
Yes.
Considering he was
Just
talking about
once
how
a week
he
say,
can't
hey,
even-
I forgot to.
Doesn't matter. 2 years from now, whenever it happens.
Whenever it happens. Hey, videos are posterity. Save posterity. All
No,
right.
that's a really good one though. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but and actually, Silence of the Lamb has a good mixture of a couple different alignments in there. There's some good examples in there.
I
So,
like.
that's good.
Yeah, you could characterize Sterling as actually lawful good. She's really trying to do what's lawfully good and stuff like that. You could characterize her as that in the movie. I haven't
Sure.
read the book,
Yeah, I haven't either.
but it would be hard to top Anthony Hopkins' performance of Lecter for me. So,
Yeah, right.
but you had her, and you had Lecter as the neutral evil. You had Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill was more like a chaotic evil. He wanted something, but he was not nearly as organized as Lecter, which does go to kind of highlight how chaos does not necessarily mean a lack of planning or a lack of order. And we'll get to this in the chaos discussion, so spoilers. It's not necessarily a lack of order. It's that the order to you does not matter if you're getting to the goal. Because you're perfectly willing to throw out the order to get to the goal, which follows more to a neutrality. But I think as far as characters go, we have those. And then if you're looking for deities from Pathfinder, I think almost really tying into the Lecter portion is Ergothoa, who was mentioned last time in a snide remark, but as a slight from Pharasma. So
Yeah.
Ergi, she's here, and she's neutral evil, of course, the deity of undeath. So you have Pharasma, who is true neutral, who's all about the proper order and upholding the ideas that death is important and it's part of the cycle and stuff. And Ergothoa, who specifically goes against it, specifically rebelled against the natural order of things. So, and the natural path of life, death, birth, all that. To satisfy her own desires, to satisfy her own appetites, which is why she's not only the deity of undeath, but she's the deity of gluttony also. Because she's there to satisfy her appetites. And that might be a way to tell if a character is more chaotic or more lawful or more neutral, is the satisfaction of appetites and whether those are more important than anything else to that character.
Yeah, I like that. And actually, it made me think of, the classic villains in Lord of the Rings, too. Melkor, Sauron, and then Ungoliant is who I was thinking of with the appetite, too. They're all definitely neutral evil,
Oh, I don't
classic powers.
know. I think Melkor's more like chaotic evil.
Interesting. Tell me why. Tell me why you think.
No, that's for the chaotic one. I can't have it yet. What are you talking about? Trying to trip
All
me
right, tell
up?
us why he's not neutral.
Why would he not be neutral evil?
Why would he
Does
not
that-
be neutral evil? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
don't think
No, but
Melkor-
for real, I am interested.
I don't think Melkor would be neutral evil because he was about the corruption of things for corruption's sake. He wanted to have his vision corrupt everything that what's the big will?
Iluvatar.
Arur Iluvatar. That. He wanted to have basically he wanted to be God. He is Lucifer in the
Right.
in the
Right,
type of
yeah, 100%.
allegorical type of sense. So that's chaotic because it's not about making something yourself or doing something. He wants to corrupt all the stuff into his vision. A neutral evil character doesn't necessarily care if something is good or evil, just if it satisfies their appetite. Which is why I would characterize Sauron and Sauron more as lawful evil, Melkor as chaotic evil. and then maybe Ungolia and and the spiders and stuff like that. Those may be more of that neutral evil, because it's about satisfying their appetite. It's about personal satisfaction. Melkor is about corrupting everything for himself, corrupting all those things, not necessarily having them exist for his appetites, but corrupting it down to its core to show his vision of everything.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. I think maybe that's what, and this is just me thinking through it. He became that just from the fact that no one can create anything. He's incapable of it, but he wanted to. You know, he wanted to create his own song. He started singing his own song, but he could never escape. So I wonder if there's something in the mythos there.
I don't know. It's not a perfect allegory for alliance anyway, so...
No, for sure. But I would say Sauron is still neutral evil because he's happy to betray people. His seeking of power, he thinks I mean, it goes back to some of the thing is he's the second coming of Melkor, basically, in that he has this vision, and if everything is under him, all will be right.
Right.
But he'll break any rules that he wants.
Well, that's not necessarily true. He doesn't break his own rules.
Fair.
He wants everything to be under his rule. He doesn't necessarily... Because he still wants law. Like Sauron is an interesting case study. Sauron's an interesting case study in how a lawful evil being, or lawful being, can serve a chaotic being to serve an end. Because he knew he couldn't do anything about Melkor being more powerful than him, necessarily. But he knew Melkor had the abilities that he needed to impose his will upon everybody else. So the reason I would characterize him as lawful evil and not neutral evil is Sauron wants to impose his will, his rule, not just his will, but his rule over all creation. Well, overall Middle-earth.
Right.
And if he was neutral evil, it wouldn't be about the ruling of it. It wouldn't be about the perfecting of it. Because he views his view of the world as perfection. It's not like Melkor, who just wants to make his own thing and it causes discord. Because that's very selfish.
Yeah, Melkor wanted to make... Yep.
So it causes discord, and Melkor doesn't care that it causes discord. He wants to do it anyway.
Yep.
Sauron has to work within that song. He knows that. He can't do anything but that song. So he functions and wants to dominate everything within that. Whereas neutral evil, I think that neutral evil characters can rise to the top of a hierarchy through scheming or things like that, but on a cosmic level, I don't think they ever would. Because neutrality is their willingness to do one or the other, and that lack of extremes keeps them from rising to the top of an extreme. In the same way that a neutral good a neutral good usually ends up later becoming either a chaotic or a lawful good in like a big cosmic, overarching type of sense. They either end up serving law or chaos in some way. That type of transition there is also present in a lot of the storytelling that we see for characters that start out neutral evil but go one way or the other. But I do think a neutral evil character could be
evil.
done. Yeah. This place is
Sorry.
It's getting out of here.
Yes.
Shoot, cat. Shoot.
I think from a lot of our discussion, would it be fair to say that, like, when it comes to D&D alignments, neutrality is unstable? I feel like a lot of the way we've talked about it, it's like this kind of character...
It's hard to stay there, is what you're saying.
Other than lawful neutral. I think that's pretty easy to...
Yeah. Well, I think that goes to answer your question, though. The reason that we perceive neutral to be so unstable is not because neutral's moving, but because the characters are.
Right.
So neutral is the same all the time.
Oh, let me I did not mean that, like, neutrality itself changed. But a character existing as neutral. Like, neutrality as aspect of a character is unstable.
I'd
Maybe
say
unstable is the
tends to
wrong word.
be, malleable. It fluctuates because of the very nature of trying to maintain a balance. So, like with a scale, you have both sides, and in this case, you've got 4 sides on a scale if you were looking at true neutral.
Yeah.
So, most of the time, people, based on who they're around, unless they're serving that cosmic neutrality like we talked about, which, again, that is actually a pretty good discussion. Go look at that one for true neutrality. The true the neutral nature of things means that this, in our case, neutral evil, this evil character is going to end up doing a lot more of one thing than the other. Usually, they're either going to operate heavily within the law, or they're in mob bosses can be anywhere from neutral evil to lawful evil. But you run into problems if you try to have a mob boss who's chaotic evil. That's how most mob bosses go down. They're too chaotic. They don't watch that. So,
As they lose control.
they lose control. So there's that balancing act that's necessary to maintain neutrality as a character. Not necessarily that your character has to, right? Because we're going to talk about that. Your character can change alignments back and forth, or exhibit different characteristics of alignments. So the neutral evil character will a lot of the time, a scheming neutral evil character will end up doing a lot more lawful stuff. Whereas a more, I guess you'd say more of a bruiser type of neutral evil character tends towards chaos rather than neutrality. And so I don't think it's impossible. I do think that the neutrals are not where most people stay. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at. Most people don't stay neutral. Most people either are lawful or chaotically aligned in some way in their character. Most characters are lawfully or chaotically aligned in some way. And then their moral alignment can go one way or another.
Yeah. Just jumping back to the Lord of the Rings things, I think you make some good points, and it does. I like the appetite thing, because then that does show Ungoliant and eventually Shelob, her offspring. They are the perfect example, because like Ungoliant makes that pact with Melkor to take down the 2 trees, and she gets to drink from them, but then she attacks Melkor afterwards.
She wants to eat Melkor.
Yeah, she's not satisfied. She's never satisfied. Shelob's the same. The orcs are like, we kind of have an agreement with her. I don't know if she knows we have an agreement, but she's not strong enough to go against Sauron, but she gets to eat if she stays here. Yeah. It's like, as long as you leave me alone and I get what I want, I don't need to shake things up. Yeah. So yeah, that's good.
And neither one was, she wasn't nearly strong enough to oppose him outright, and he wasn't, in the movies he's definitely not strong enough to just push her out. In the books, he probably could have if he wanted to, but in the books, she's more... Yeah, in the books, she's more talked about, not exactly like a pet, but like kind of like a pet that is in... That's her house. Don't go near the dog house or the dog will bite you type thing.
Like those dogs we were talking about.
Yeah. But I think that when you... like you said, with the appetite thing and with those appetites being satisfied... I think it's a lot easier to to try and work this into a way you can have it in your campaigns without disrupting everything. Having players that are neutral evil is very tricky in inexperienced players, because most players don't realize something that we've been saying every time we've talked about evil, and that is even evil people, like in real life, if you look at evil people, Hitler still cared about, his girlfriend and his kids. Like, he still cared about them. You're not going to end up caring about nobody if you're neutral evil. Not usually. Not in Survive. Because you need people to survive. You're not gonna, I don't see a neutral evil character going out and raising their own food so that they can then have sustenance to eat.
Right.
And then go do all their evil stuff. No. They care that that farmer is going to continue to exist. If they destroy all the farmers, they're not going to have any food. So that's like on a grander scale. But on like a personal scale, a character in a party is going to care about the well-being of his other party members, even if all that means is that they are being taken care of in return. And that doesn't mean they won't try to steal from the party or something like that. They might. But if they steal from the party, they weaken their position in the party. Like, it's neutral evil, just like lawful good is not lawful stupid. Neutral evil is not neutral stupid. And neither is chaotic evil, which we'll get to that later. But the neutral evil characters are going to care about people, just for different reasons.
Right. Yeah, that's good. I think the tricky part is that betrayal aspect, because they could at any time. I think that's the thing that makes it tricky. But I like that. I'm thinking like they need to hide from something, like the law is after them or something. But as long as they stay with the party, so they don't want the party there. And maybe the party is like, if I'm with these strong people and I keep making them strong, and they like me, they'll keep me safe, so I can keep doing or pursuing whatever goal it is.
Yeah. And I mean, think about it. If you're doing alignments right, no one else should really care, or no one else should know what anybody else's cosmic alignment is. That's the purview of the gods. I mean, there's a few you're going to know just by the powers that they get, like Ergothoa or something like that. But that actually does bring something up. There are Ergothoa actually finds great pleasure in having her priests go and trick small towns and stuff like that into thinking that they are Pharasmans that are going around and helping them. So there is that, like, they are openly aggressive to each other in those two faiths. So there is that to understand.
Right.
There is that amount of deception.
It could be a way into the party too, that's the secret you keep that might turn into a betrayal. If you play it right, could be a nice narrative growth within the party that they think you're a servant of Pharasma for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And you have a real good makeup kit?
Yes.
And so
yeah. Well,
a lot of cologne or, perfume or something.
Well, if you think about it, they could be doing it to gain part of that undead. Like, they could be doing this to become an undead for that particular coven that they may be in, or something along those lines. Because that is the ultimate goal of Ergothoan, is to become undead, to imitate that. Though some Ergothoans do practice ritual sacrifice of themselves for the consumption of the group, so that is a thing too.
What a way to go.
Yeah. But I think that a neutral evil character does not have to be like, I'm going to backstab the party at the very first opportunity. No, they wouldn't do that. They want the party to be strong. If the party's strong, they're safe. Like,
right.
Now, they may not try to rescue you real hard if you get caught. Like, they're going to probably be the last person to try and get you out of jail or something like that. But that doesn't mean they don't want you to not get in jail in the first place. One, if you get in jail, you can incriminate them for stuff. And I mean, we deal in mainly fantasy in our games a lot, but especially in a modern setting, I think in neutral evil it would be a lot more common in a modern setting where there's abundance, rather than in a more rural setting where there is not, like in fantasy. I mean, because you really can't be neutral evil very long outwardly being neutral evil and exist in a feudal system, unless you're higher up in the chain. Like, your average adventurer your average adventurer, they ain't gonna last long if they keep acting neutral evil. That's what other adventurers are for.
Right. I'm thinking of an interesting way that that you could play it that may be a little, it sounds kind of weird, but a little more lighthearted. It's possibly a pirate type character. Could be neutral evil.
Yeah.
But still be with the party. There's a lot of reasons to have adventurers on your ship with you.
Yeah. And pirates are not nice people. I mean, we see Pirates of the
Right.
Caribbean and stuff like that. Those are fun. Those are like Disney movies.
Right.
Don't base your assumptions on what pirates are like from the Disney movies. But if you want to play a Disney movie pirate, you could. Like Barbossa, I could see him characterized as neutral evil. I could see that. He was once undead, by the way, so I mean, like,
Yeah.
come on.
Also true.
But-
yeah.
Imagine a neutral evil pirate captain who is working really hard to deceive the rest of the party into not realizing what they've been doing.
Oh, yeah. That's
Right,
a thing, too.
you keep the ship going and you, like, in the middle of the night sail out your boat, or you do something to get the other ship to attack you.
Oh, yeah. If you had a neutral evil... And this goes to the manipulation of the party, just in general. Like, if you had a player that was like, hey, I want to do this. I want to play a neutral evil character. And the GM's like, I've got a storyline that would work well if there was a betrayer within the group. This might work if you do this. And then it makes me think of something like at the climax where XP to level 3 did a set of videos of Lord of the Rings if it was tabletop or something like that, if it was D&D. And I've watched those, and I've watched them more than once. You got the first start and the second start, and when Smeagol comes in, the character that was Boromir, he has him like being Smeagol in the story. That player starts to play Smeagol instead because they just want the ring. And then, near the end, at that big climax, all the groups brought back together, and nobody liked this player. Like, nobody liked the player in the story that he presented. And the player was like, everybody was like, kill him, and the player was like, kill me. And it's like, it was weird. He gives it this funny idea to it. But that could be a thing. Like, you could do that if you built up to it. And it doesn't have to be a long campaign necessarily, especially if that character's only wanting to play that neutral evil character to kind of get it, like, I just want to play one, get it out of your system type thing. I just want to play a neutral evil character. Well, they have them deceiving the group along the way, and the group can eventually find out, and this is where you could have sanctioned PvP, where this person is the captain of a ship. He's obviously stronger than they have been in the past, and he's been helping them. But now they're getting to his level, and they find out, and now it's a good time for that conflict to arise. When they find out that this person has been deceiving them, this treasure that they've been seeking belongs to, I don't know, somebody they care about.
Yep.
Because I was about to say the government of whatever thing like this is a storehouse of theirs, but then I'm like, how many chaotic characters are in this campaign? I don't know that they care about stealing from the government. So
Potentially. Though, like, you would have it be, like, stealing from the reserve coffers for a community or something.
yeah, it's
Right,
stealing
like-
from the orphanage. Let's go all the way evil. I don't know.
Something like that,
There
yeah.
you go.
But you could also have things of, like, we're on this huge vendetta mission, and you find out that, like, the captain disliked that other organization and intentionally pissed them off to get them coming after the party. So that way the party would go on a vendetta against them.
Ooh. Oh man, that could even work if they do know that it's an evil pirate captain or something like that, but they don't know that he's the whole reason that they were all brought together. It could be like strange bedfellows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're stuck together.
Oh,
Right.
locks himself in prison with them,
Oh,
even though he
that's
had locked all of them up.
Right.
Yeah. Well, see, he could have set it up with the guards that they got into his cell, and that's where he meets them They build a rapport. They escape together. He says, hey, I've got this ship hidden off the shore. Come on, let's go. He knew them. He knew of them. Maybe they've gotten a name for themselves. He wanted them to help them. He knew they had a set of skills that he needed to have to get to what he wanted. And perhaps he needed specific people for this bloodline must be done. Going back to Pirates of the Caribbean, they have to break the curse with the blood of everybody that did it.
Yep. I was thinking something some deific item or something powerful magic that's like,
and
should anyone have this?
Since we're dealing with alignments, maybe the door he wants to get in can openly be opened by a good character.
Yeah, there you go. Or a lawful character. Or both. Yeah, that's good.
Or only opened by a good and evil character simultaneously.
Ooh, that's a yin-yang sort of
in all things balance.
Yeah, so obviously that place is run by the true neutral.
Ooh.
Nice.
Who's waiting for the oh, and a good has to open, and a good and an evil has to open, and only a neutral may enter, or something like that. You have all three people in the party.
Or four, and a lawful and a chaotic must enter.
Yeah.
If you want to go real crazy with it.
Yeah.
But now, you GMs, you're going to have to figure out what's behind the door they're trying to open, because that's not the purview of this particular video. But we do that. We do the theory crafting a lot.
Yeah.
But to stay on target, we using that in your campaign can be useful. Another way that could be useful, another reason that the character might be working with him, is that perhaps going back to a cleric or or anti-paladin, or whatever it's called in 2e for neutral evil paladin. The neutral evil paladin may be told to be working with him. They may be led by their god to work with this particular group, because the god knows cosmically if he sets him in there, he could then trigger something a little down the line that would serve the evil, even if they think they're leading towards good. And again, if you're gonna play an evil character, either everybody needs to know he's evil, or either everybody needs to know their cosmic alignments, or nobody needs to know their cosmic alignments. If you're gonna have that type of stuff going on, or at least clarify it with the LM and probably the group as a whole. Like, hey guys, you can play any alignment. Well, even neutral evil, yeah. Even
Communication.
Because I did have an evil character in my games. I did have one, and he worked with a lawful neutral paladin, but he was a lawful evil. He wasn't a neutral evil.
Yeah.
But for the actions that character took, he was an assassin. For the actions of that character, I don't think it would have made much difference if he had wrote down neutral evil over lawful evil. So
okay.
Because really, he was still working towards a goal with the group.
Right.
He wasn't disrupting the group. He just had his own goals and was looking to accomplish them, which was killing people, which he did. Which is another reason. I mean, if you've got
better group to be with.
No better group if you are a neutral evil character and you're looking, and the motivation of your character is just to murder people. Go find an adventure. You can
travel with a lot of parties.
Yeah, you can travel with a lot of parties, and they don't have to know. And you're not going to do anything. You don't do stupid stuff. Don't be neutral, stupid evil.
Right.
So.
Well, you could even take a what would it be? Because we talked about Dexter in previous episodes. A kind of lackadaisical sort of Dexter. Like, it's not. They didn't make a rule that they don't kill bad guys. They just found that they didn't get in trouble as much
if they killed bad guys.
If they killed bad guys.
I mean, yeah.
So If you don't, that's fine. But it's just, I
It's
go
like,
with these
ooh.
guys, and no one yells at me when I do the sadistic things I like to do.
Yeah.
So I'll
They
hang
yell
out
at
with
me
you
when I
guys longer.
torture them, but not when I just outright murder them. What is their
Yeah.
deal, man?
I don't get it.
Don't they want me to enjoy my work? Ugh.
And then they become like the inquisitor for the party. If you want the prisoner to speak, send in the neutral evil character.
I mean, that depending on the morality of your particular group,
Right.
that may be a desirable character to have with them.
Right.
Yeah.
That vivisectionist.
On a random, well, not related note, Zone of Truth plus that sort of a character, because torture isn't actually effective at getting truth out, but it is
Right.
effective at getting words out. And if you can force them to only speak the truth,
I like that.
Yeah, there are ways around Zone of Truth when torture's involved. Well, I mean, there's ways around Zone of Truth anyway. If you're,
there are.
but that would
But if you
definitely
mix
work.
the two, it's a little harder.
Yeah, if you mix the two, it's a little harder.
It'd be great flavor though if he's like, I am going to kill you. So this is your last chance to speak truth before you die. Please begin. It was just you see him tied up like Dexter style,
And that's why I think neutral evil is truly the most evil of the evils.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't care. It's just about the satisfaction of the goal. It is just like neutral good, we said, was the goodest of good.
Yeah.
Evil is the
good for goodness sake.
Yeah.
And
Right.
evil for villainy sake.
Yes. Definitely so. So I think that's a safe way to say that. Because chaos, we'll get to chaos. Those are up next.
Yep.
They're not quite as bound to particular sets of goals. I mean, they may set some, but it's a lot more about the journey. So, neutral evil, there's a lot to be considered. It is probably the most dangerous to play because there's a lot of justifications that can be made for neutral evil. But if you can pull it off, it can make for some rewarding roleplay and inclusion and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what I say.
Nice.
Just a warning, if you are wanting to go Inquisitor style, check with your party. Not everyone.
Right.
That could definitely be a good bit too far for plenty of people.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people like to play in a fantasy setting where there's that type of stuff, but not a lot of people actually like to include that type of stuff in their game.
Yeah.
Which
Just
is,
say, hey, I do some very bad things.
Right.
And he
Fade to
says
black's
things to
always
me.
good.
Fade to Black does work. All right, we're getting the 10-minute warning. Any final
is.
stuff for you guys?
I think just to sum it up is the goal, the desire for the neutral evil character is the key if you want to play in a party, is to work with your GM and work with your party to find that goal that will fit well within the game and still allow you to play that type of character. And I think this goes for every alignment. Don't use your alignment as an excuse to do stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's more of a guide to how to create narrative moments. So goes especially for the evil characters. They can be done well. They can create great moments, but it just takes some work to make sure that you fit it into the story nicely. Because a betrayal could be amazing. If it's handled nicely, it can be an amazing memory for the whole party. Even if it hurts in the moment, that is, it could be great.
Well, I mean, there's always that understanding of, hey, you go up to the final boss. You've all fought so hard to get there. And then your leader walks up to the boss and says... He just doesn't say anything, just turns to you and say, well, I'm glad you've all come to visit us. We finally made it. And he turns and he faces away from the boss. He faces the party.
Yes.
Now, you get to make the decision. Should we continue? And there are not a lot of moments like that that you get to do in tabletop, because it's got to be handled well up to that point. And man, if I played in a game where the end, near the end right there at the climax, there was a big betrayal like that, I don't think I'd be upset. I think I'd be like, what?
Yes, that right there.
Oh, like you alternately have like this person fake out that they got killed or knocked out in the fight, lets the party finish off the thing, they stand back up, clap and say thanks for clearing that out for me.
Yeah.
Take the throne.
Yes.
Yeah, because for some reason it has to have certain, like maybe it's this specific bloodline or this specific thing, and you needed that person off. Oh man, your brother, like you're a bastard child, and they don't like your brother doesn't know, and you can assume the throne. He thinks he's the only heir, so you can assume the throne. And they don't even know it.
Yes.
And so you fight and you fight and you fight and you fight to get up to that, and then the party doesn't even know that it's your brother, and you just that would be great for the bastard king. That's my bastard king's end goal right there.
There you go. Yes.
Nice.
Half-orc character, neutral evil now because of this. He hates his family. His mother was raped by, all that type of stuff. Mother has baby out of wedlock type of thing with this king who did it out of spite for this orcish tribe, and they ended up massacring the tribe anyway. And so his mother bears him, and he grows up knowing who his father was, knowing that his father did it, and he's going to take that king because he will be the bastard king. He will be the king that was left behind, the one that you didn't know. And
the one that got away.
Yeah, him and his mother. She couldn't make it very long after she bore him, and all that type of stuff. So he fights and he fights and he fights until he gets up to that throne, and everybody's around him, and everybody knows he's kind of rough and tumble, but they don't necessarily know that he's evil, maybe, or maybe they do. Maybe they don't care. Maybe this guy is a tyrant and they need him down. But when he gets up there, he sits on the throne and the power flows through him, and they learn the final
Phase
piece of
2.
his backstory. And they're like, and he asks them, now what will we do? And if you had a good crusader who was working with him to, get stuff done, to do the better good, only to find that he is able to assume the throne, that everybody thought the bloodline was over with this last king, but the bastard king absorbs the power. And he has to be pretty powerful to come up against the other king, like to work with the party and come against the other king. So he's no pushover, and that king may have been given power from the throne, like maybe it's an artifact, and it maxes out his power so that maybe they don't want to face him. Maybe it's better to have a tyrant than an enemy
The devil you know versus the devil you don't.
Yeah. So maybe that's how it ends up playing out. Maybe not. Maybe the party wants to try and face down a super-powered half-orc with reach on his spear. I don't know. But, I don't know.
That's great.
All right. So
Good
there we
example.
go. Just like last time, we went into something afterwards. So,
Yeah.
that's all I've got. You guys got anything before we sign off?
Have fun. Let us know how it goes.
Yep. Be a team player still.
Yes.
Till the end.
Good.
Or till you give up on this character.
Yes, remember that all of those things on your team are your playthings. Not really. Okay. Thank you for sticking around, travelers. We hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. God bless. And enjoy. Bye.
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 This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.
Okay, really random quick thing. Dan, do you remember how you were talking about I believe it was a true neutral Minotaur?
Yes.
So, there's actually a name for that kind of philosophy where it's like, all things end, but we should live the best life we can until then. Like, that is called optimistic nihilism.
Ah, yes.
So it is
That's
a real-world philosophy that your Minotaur applied.
Yeah. That sums him up pretty well.
Sorry, really random thing. I was looking up things to find up the exact term during some of the stuff.
He didn't end that way. He ended up lawful neutral.
Yeah, but that's where he was.
But that's where he was, yeah. Well, you know, the DM killed all his family and half the party because they were all done with the campaign, and so he swore vengeance and...
Vengeance!
As you do.
As you do, yes.
Yeah.
But that's fun, yeah. Optimistic nihilism, which almost sounds like an oxymoron to me, but it's great.
I know, but like nihilism isn't specifically like depression. It's a view that nothing cosmically matters.
It sounds an awful lot...
It's not saying that nothing matters.
Yeah, it sounds an awful lot more like hedonism to me. But...
Well, so hedonism is often under nihilism, but you would more accurately say that hedonism is a type of nihilism.
I guess. I can see why. I think it's a lot of... I think modern psychology likes to make up a lot of words for a lot of things we already got names for. They just don't want to call them that.
Well, I mean, this is more philosophy than psychology.
Just keep dicing that pie. You can do it infinitely.
But yeah, like, because the thing about this is that, like, with nihilism, you can still have the acceptance that things matter on a local or even global scale, but not on an infinite scale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The true nihilism is like, well, that's the only scale that matters.
Yeah, and actually optimistic nihilism would be, this is the only scale that matters, this is, okay, good, we'll do our best with this scale.
Well, I mean, I was saying that real nihilism would be like full-on nihilism would be like, yeah, but it's it's only the cosmic scale that matters in the first place.
That would probably be pessimistic nihilism if we wanted to.
You can't. There's just splitting hairs now. It's all nihilism.
But I repeat myself.
No, I know, but I was already splitting hairs. Yeah. I started this by splitting hairs.
I love it. I love that though. I just like that combination of words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like pessimistic nihilism would be nothing objectively matters, and that's a bad thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. You guys are great.
Well, peace out. The call really doesn't want us here.
It's giving us the countdown. Farewell, so long, good night.
Bye.